Show, final hour on a Monday. Hi, hello, thanks for being a part. The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Here's what we're going to do in our final hour. Aggie Football Notebook. Damian Sanford update. Aggie Football, they got another 5-star, and it's an O-lineman. That's the perfect dream. We have to. I got to listen in. John Summerall, the Florida head coach. And I told you on the Louie Bellina Show, college football, SEC, college football, the national scene, and more. The Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric. Residential, commercial, and industrial services, CC Electric. Free estimates, military, and veteran discounts, CC Electric. And in the time we have left, which is about 58 minutes and change, text. Get it out of your head. Spit it out. Don't have to wait till tomorrow. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. Aggie Football over the weekend. I think it was Friday, actually. The news got out. It's not an update. Damian Sanford. He underwent surgery last week to repair a lower body injury, the one he suffered during the spring game. And according to the reports I saw, is he'll likely miss at least some part of the season. I also saw some reports that Elko said it was too early to say. But with all the reports, you get the feeling that it's going to be an extended leave of absence. Like he had the surgery. He's not going to be back in June. It's not 4 to 6 weeks. That's the most comfortable I feel saying. So, because look, you ever notice here on the Louie Bellina Show, we don't talk a lot of injuries. I kind of wait for the coaches' updates. Injury speculation is just that speculation because generally speaking, you don't get hard answers. We need more information. We don't know yet. You hear lower body. Well, that's a whole lot of things going on with the lower body. Upper body, same concepts. And I get it too. You can't by HIPAA laws on a lot of this stuff and other things. Or why would you tell the other team where to target your player? Why would you tell them what to expect on Saturday? Things of that nature, right? So, but all the different reports. Sanford had surgery last week. Repair a lower body injury, and he's going to be out for an extended stretch of time. And again, I get Matt Zenitz is one I saw, but likely miss at least part of the season. He's going to have no off season because of this and have to get back in shape. And so even when he starts his season, he will have a ramp up time. So it's going to be rough. I think we knew and expected that. Linebacker depth already was one of the biggest questions, and you're losing your chaos agent, because that's what I always called him. That's what I thought he did best at linebacker. He was your most experienced returning linebacker. So linebacker was already a question mark. Linebacker depth was a question mark. This was a key injury. Now, we'll see how it plays out. Injury equals opportunity. Is there someone that wants to step in and step up? But it was a key injury. Other Aggie football news yesterday. A&M landed a commitment, 2027 Kingwood 5-star offensive lineman Kennedy Brown. With his commitment, A&M now has the 3 highest rated offensive tackles in the state of Texas for 2027. I went over to ESPN Recruiting, and he's number 5 in their ESPN 300. He's from Kingwood, number 2 offensive tackle in the cycle. And A&M beat out, because I am not a recruiting guru, but I did hang out next to recruiting gurus for way too long. So I think I'm really good with rules of thumbs versus this is the facts, right? More than stars, to be honest with you, I want to know who you beat out. That will tell me the tier of the kid. Because if you beat out Northern Illinois, Southern Illinois, and Western Illinois, that's one tier of a kid. But if you beat out LSU, Alabama, and Ohio State, that's another tier of a kid. So I always want to know who you beat out. Kennedy Brown picked A&M over Florida, LSU, and Tennessee. So he's definitely SEC caliber. And all are S-tier programs. Sign me up. Now, for ESPN recruiting, he's the third 5-star A&M has signed. Forstall and Dorsey are the other two. Other recruiting services has this as the fourth or fifth 5-star in this class for A&M. Mentioned already, A&M has the 3 highest ranked offensive tackles in the state of Texas. And Caden Scott, and is it Demarion Johnson? The other two, plus him is 3 offensive tackles in the state. And again, the way you have to do this, at least, allegedly, I think everything's still so new with NIL, portal, high school recruiting, how's it trickling down to them, that I don't know if there's a blueprint yet, because not everybody can go get like 19 players from James Madison and then have a billionaire back your portal play and win a national championship. That, the Indiana story. I don't think that's a blueprint yet. But anyway, Georgia and Alabama having to adjust with this. You can't just buy every 5-star because they don't play, they leave. The dead money concept you've heard talked about here before is high school recruiting absolutely has a role, but you have to play them. You can't afford to pay high school players to not play kind of immediately, especially the 5-star end, especially the 5-star. They cost too much. You can't have dead cap money. Everything costs too much. So, and it's interesting for me. I had trouble being a high school recruiting fan other than, okay, cool, where's the class rank versus the individuals? But when you see a 5-star now, you have to expect that kid to play. So I'm more interested at 5 stars in your class because that kid should play. Not he'll be on special teams in year 1, 2 deep in year 2. Because before, young don't play, and they had to be a 5-star and like exceptional 5-star to like start in year 1 or to get majority of snaps at a position. But now you can't do that. You think the kid's going to redshirt as a 5-star or play low percentage. They're gone. They're gone. So I find myself more interested than ever at your 5-star commits because they're going to play. They have to. So anyway, yeah, I'm excited. Why would you not be? But this 2027 class by A&M, the start of it, high school for Elko, he's pushing for a number 1 class. And we know their portal prowess. And the perfect dream would be to build your base high school and then be able to do anything, whether it's due to attrition, injury. You miss on some of the high school kids, and you could fill every hole through the portal. That's the perfect way to do it. But, man, it's hard to do anything perfect, isn't it? Oh, let me go to the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. Rusty Burson, the Rusty Burson, Aggie historian and author Rusty Burson, who, man, Rusty, I need you to text me. Didn't you say you weren't going to be here this Thursday? You had to get your hair done, like you'll be at the beauty salon or something. I think Rusty's gone this Thursday. So maybe Rusty owes me a text message a day. I don't know. But Rusty Burson texted and said, Lou, that's me, we just had a rather historic NFL draft for the Aggies. Absolutely. And I'm starting to think we could see something similarly historic in the MLB draft this summer. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. He went on to say, Rusty Burson, the Rusty Burson, Aggie historian, author, Rusty Burson. I can easily see 3 Aggies taken in the first round. Harkopian, Sorrell, and Grahovic. Yeah. Man, Rusty, why you make me think? I prefer not to think. It hurts when I think. But I wonder what is the A&M record for most first-round draft picks. And how would any of those 3 not be first-round picks? With the trajectory their current seasons are on, and, I've looked at, not like NFL mock, I've looked at some MLB mocks, And they're all three projected in that first round zip code, but MLB drafting is so bizarre because, you have your 30 teams, but then with the first round compensatories, you could have like 4 to 6 more go. So it could be 36 first round picks. Okay. There is no way to project. My favorite, and I think it might be the ESPN guy, is it like Kylie McDaniel, but he does mini mocks. Because after 13, what's the point? Nobody knows what teams are going to do. So he calls it a mini mock, and he does like 13. And I know of these three, 2 men will go first round. What is the A&M baseball all-time most first-round picks? Rusty, come on, you're the historian, dude. You got to help me here. But yeah, we could see a historic year because I could see all three going in the first round. Absolutely. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. Oh, we got to talk Bucky ball. He did it again too. We're going to stay maroon and white up until we go to our listen in Florida. Oh, something I saw I thought was pretty fun. Something I saw I thought was pretty awesome. ESPN. And they do every top 25 team. They actually had Heather Dinich do it, who's their CFP expert. But the strength and weakness for every top 25 team. Strength and weakness for every top 25 team. Texas, the Longhorns. You know what their strength is? D-line. And they said that's dangerous because Will Muschamp will party with a strength D-line. You know what their weakness is? And that easy call, I knew this one. O-line. Called it a work in progress last season. And they said they're probably going to start the year as a work in progress. I'll tell you something, though. Arch Manning did level up. And now he has a wide receiver that makes that even easier. Kim Coleman's a throw to a zip code kind of guy. And Arch will 100% trust him. They should have no running game until they figure out. And remember, they went and got the top 2 backs in the transfer portal, Hollywood and the other guy. I will just say, if you play in the SEC, never, ever, ever, ever have as a weakness either one of your lines of scrimmage. Ever, 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 ever. Yeah, I know. Pretty straightforward concept. That wasn't really a revelation, but ever. Yeah, I did say ever, didn't I? Ever. And Texas, their season last year, they still finished 1 game short of the... Remember something about Texas for all the people who want to hate and doubt them? With all the problems they had last year, Arch wasn't ready for prime time. O-line. Defense gave up too many weird big plays because they had many problems last year. They still finished only 1 game short of the college football playoff after they had went to the college football playoff in back-to-back years and won games in the college football playoff. They weren't just a participant. So with all the garbage they had to deal with last year, they only finished 1 game short. And everyone says playing Ohio State cost them. No, losing to Florida cost them. They had 2 opportunities to get that 1 game back last year. Don't lose to Florida, or sure, go ahead and beat Ohio State. Either one would have worked. So with everything they had challenging them last year, they're 1 game short. They're going to have 4 first-round picks in the upcoming NFL draft. That top-end talent we talk about. And Arch Manning is the projected number 1 overall draft pick in the upcoming NFL draft. That's the Texas Longhorn team. Their schedule is pretty brutal. Yes, it is. Their schedule next year. Remember, they got the gift schedule from the SEC for the first 2 years they were in the league. They did. And I hate the Longhorns as much as you do. But as their first year in, first 2, even because, that we were on a 2-year rotation. It's almost like a welcome. I kind of want to say I almost understand, but no, now it's evening out a bit. They got a rough schedule, finally. But understand the Longhorn team that's taking the field. Again, the 4 first-round NFL picks. They have the top-end elite, number 1 overall pick, and it's a quarterback. And last year they finished 1 game short, missed the college football playoff for the first time in 3 years for them. 1 game short with all the issues they had. Quarterback not ready for prime time. O-line, that was a work in progress basically the whole year. So I think there's something we're a little bit worried about with them. And they still beat A&M both years, despite A&M being in a better position both years. Disconcerting, yes. When we come back, this whole strength and weakness, we'll put our eye towards A&M with that question, and then Bucky ball too. Your text messages are welcome, of course, and this is the Louie Bellina Show. I'll be right back. Relax. It is the Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio. It is the Louie Bellina Show, the Monday edition. Low cost, full service, best of all local. That's Schwab. How are we best of all local? Mark Sim right here in College Station. With Mark Sim, the support, you get the forces of both. You get Mark Sim and Charles Schwab. And with Schwab, you get that modern approach to wealth management where whatever you called them for, they got your back. They can meet your specific needs. But with all the experience, all the years, with everything, Schwab, which means Mark Sim, they have the flexibility to adapt as your needs change with time, and they will in ways you've never imagined. But Schwab, been there, done that. Look up Mark Sim at schwab.com/College Station. Schwab.com/College Station.
You can hear Aggie Baseball online at RadioAggieland.com. RadioAggieland.com.
The Louie Bellina Show down the stretch. We kind of come. The Louie Bellina Show on a Monday, and it's all presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, and community. CC Electric. We're just kind of maroon and white in our way towards 2 o'clock. It is a maroon and white universe, and we're all just kind of living in it. You know, ESPN's Heather Dinich, who's their college football playoff person, but they had her do strength and weakness of every top 25 team. We took a look at the Longhorns, and again, I'm just going to tell you, be careful. And why did I say that? This is a team that had so many flaws and errors and missed the college football playoff by 1 game last year. And that's after they went to the college football playoff and won games in the college football playoff in back-to-back years. Going into this season, they have 4 first-round picks, including the number 1 overall pick at quarterback and a top 10, maybe 15 pick at wide receiver. And I know this is all off season, many miles to go before we sleep, but they do have a fatal flaw. They do have an Achilles heel that can derail any team season, which is O-line as a weakness. That is a death trap. But Texas A&M, and I think that you and I really, I think we really, really have a feel for A&M because we talk about it every day. We live here. It's kind of what we do. There's no mysteries left. Who will be the breakout players? That's a mystery. Which players are going to level up? That's a mystery. We won't know until the games start. A&M's schedule is kind of nice. You get Arizona State in the week 2 with LSU in week 4. So there's challenges, not the toughest ones of the year, that we will get to know. We will start to get a feel. Teams, man, 1, 2, there's like 3 different moments in the year. There's no final moment maybe until you get the final record, but you get the point here. But A&M's strength is wide receiver. That's an easy call. I don't think there's anything in the same zip code, same area, on the same tier. There you go. That's the better phrasing. I don't think there's anything on the same tier of strength. There's other strengths. There isn't just one, but the strength is wide receiver. It's S tier. Nobody else gets to be on that tier. You lose a Casey Concepcion, and it is the strength of the team still. Horton, I don't think anyone doubts his ability. Mario Craver, a year in the system, just a year later, but stay healthy the whole year. And Ashton Bethel-Roman already broke out in the second half. If he's that same breakout guy, but for 12 games, let alone is he now an offseason better as the breakout guy who still has room to grow? Yeah, that all adds up. And there was so much talk about Aaron Gregory in the spring, but anytime I hear about any player doing well in the spring, I smile and nod, like, let's see it on Saturdays. You follow? That's not me doubting. It's just like, let's just take it all to Saturdays. That's all. That's it. The end. But wide receiver is the strength. That's an easy call. If they're going to be more pass aggressive under Holman Wiggins, great position to be strong at. Now the weakness, and Heather Dinich said this too. I think I said it last year, but inexperience at linebacker. Tori New York is gone. Scooby's gone. And now Damian Sanford. And this, she didn't even know this when she wrote this up. But Damian Sanford out, possibly a part of the season. We don't know. Yes. You get it. That is by itself. There's not another weakness to compare. And I think weakness is absolutely horrifically the worst conceivable place. No, defense is so bad. When you want to say weakness, there's no great place. Like, you can be mediocre even, but to actually be weak, because linebacker covers the whole middle of the field. Linebacker has that dual support of the run and the pass. Linebacker, I think, is... Why did A&M down in, down out play well against the run, but kept getting gashed for 40 and 60-yard plays that generally were backbreaker plays too? Linebacker play. So I'm excited to see Ray Coney, who isn't. He seems to be a coast-to-coast, sideline-to-sideline kind of guy who makes plays, who just makes plays. And that's so desperately needed. But now your chaos backer and Sanford, well, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, seriously, that sounds pithy, but what else are you going to say? That's all you can do. Does anyone disagree? I mean, strength wide receiver, and we'll just say weakness is linebacker, especially with Sanford out. Got some text messages. Rusty Burson is doing research. That's what authors do. And it's the question about A&M baseball. What is their kind of first round record? And he wrote, Rusty Burson, the Rusty Burson, Aggie historian and author. I think the best previous A&M draft was in the COVID weirdness in June 2020 with 3 guys drafted in the top 20. And it was Asa Lacy, 4th overall, Zach Deloche, 43rd overall, and Christian Roa, 48th overall. So that's only one first round pick, but okay. He's saying it's 3 guys drafted in the top 50. And he can't find a time ever when A&M had 3 first rounders in the MLB draft. And that's the thing. Could Hakopian, Sorrell, and Grahovic all go round 1? And in my head, I think it's 2 men. Now, in 2012, this is from Rusty Burson, Tyler Naquin and Michael Waka. Oh, Waka. Michael Waka were both first rounders. So that's 2, but still cannot find 3 first rounders. So could Aggie Baseball make a record themselves in the upcoming MLB draft? So there you go. Rusty's working. Rusty, are you going to tell me? Are you out this Thursday? I remember something about it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around that one. But yeah, I think so. Zach texted and said, what? No, I'm not even going to read it. It's such a bad text message. Sometimes the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox, day in, day out, it's amusing. I love, hearing other people's thoughts. And then sometimes it's just gosh awful and it makes me want to punch something. Not a puppy. We love puppies, but still the counter. No, that would hurt my hand. Man, that's awful text message. 979-693-1150. We go to Bucky Ball. Oh, Rusty's going to be here Thursday. You know what? I'll be here Thursday too. Because if you weren't going to be here, I wasn't going to be here. Rusty Burson has confirmed he'll be here Thursday. So Bucky, you would think after maybe the Wednesday, Thursday they just had, maybe the greatest stretch of recruiting in the history of Aggie basketball. We're talking about Bucky McMillan, Bucky Ball, Aggie Hoops. You'd figure they might be done. They'd be tired. They need a month off to rest. It didn't work out that way. On Saturday, Bucky Ball got a commit from McNeese guard Tyshawn Archie. He averaged 14 points, shot 37% from three-point land, first team All-Southland Conference. According to Luke Evangelist, Texags, their hoops expert, aggressive defender, led the SLC in plus minus. Okay, we're building a roster. On Sunday, Bucky Ball commit, and his name is Jalen Shelley, 6'8". 14 points, 7 boards. Size and plays, I call it both ways. 14 points, 7 names. 14 points, 7 boards. 14 points, 7 boards. So Bucky continues to roll. Now, according to Luke Evangelist, once they added Shelley, they have 14 players on the roster. That means there's not a lot of spot left. And at this point, Logan Lee will join me tomorrow. And Logan's going to be doing cartwheels and sunshine and rainbows. All that's left is the big, because they got to get another big. They probably could have get 2 more bigs, but with Vincent returning, that was 1 big. So probably they need 1 more big, and not just any big. They need the big. That's the only thing I think left. I'll let Logan, who's the expert at this, tell you before me. So in less than 7 days, they've added G League 20-point per game guy, returned the NBA prospect, got the phenomenal transfer portal LSU guard, guy who broke out at the end of the year, got the number 4 high school player in the state of Texas, and then over the weekend added more parts. And there's one more thing. Again, it's Luke Evangelist. I give credit where it's due, because this is one of those things I don't write down their heights and weights, but this is fascinating. So last year, and we knew how short they were, the team, Bucky's year 1 team, didn't matter. They got 20-plus wins. They got to the NCAA tournament. What they did was incredible. Never forget the team. But they were 6 foot, 4.9 inches, and they were in the bottom 110 nationally in height, right? Well, if you just take the commits' heights, right, they're 6 foot, 6.2 inches, which is top 60. So height, length, just that's kind of the inside things of how you change it, right? Great catch by Luke, but that's the kind of inside things. Absolutely amazing. And with all these additions now, A&M has the number 8 transfer portal class. Number 8 transfer portal class. By the way, I got a text message back from Zach, and I said the text message was absolutely horrible. I wasn't going to read it, and I hurt his feelings, and he said, I spelt his name wrong. It's not a horrible text message. Don't worry. He called me a bleep hat. You know, I haven't been called a bleep hat in a long time. So, you know, I was taken back a little bit. You know, I think the last time I was called a bleep hat, it might have been, I don't know, family. I mean, usually. And he said he won't message this show again. That hurts. That's all. That hurt my feeling, but it's okay. This is America, you know, freedom of choice. But yeah, thank you, Zach. Thank you for the text messages. When we return, up next, he called me a bleep hat, Jeanette. I mean, Jeanette thinks it, but she's never said it. There's a difference. My producer, Jeanette, she thinks that daily, but she doesn't say it or text me that. I mean, she might have emailed it once and it went to spam or something or junk, but she never said it. When we return, we might have to go to text messages, but we got the Listen In Florida Gators football and more. It's the Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio, Monday on The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show.
Let the broadcasting of the Disturbed continue.
Fun is not optional.
Darn it.
Weekdays 11 to 2 on The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, where they do residential and commercial services. Monday edition. And on the Louie Bellina Show, we love college football. A&M, but also the SEC and college football from around the country. And this is a listen-in. University of Florida Gators, brand new head coach. And, you know, this spring, we've listened to various head coaches from the SEC and around the country. And it's Greg McElroy, his Always Be College Football podcast. And I love Greg McElroy because he still likes to talk ball. He's one of the few that's actually left in the world that likes to talk ball, and they X's and O's in the program itself. And here is the Florida Gators head coach.
Coach, I want to start with a moment that it's kind of flown under the radar a little bit, but it kind of tells the world who you are.
You leave Tulane and you decide to donate $100,000 to the Green Wave Talent Fund to just support the program. So in an era where guys are leaving programs in the rearview mirror at 90 miles an hour, you guys decided that a six-figure gift was the best way to depart a program that gave you so much. So walk me through how that conversation started.
Yeah, it's a conversation that actually started with me and my wife on a walk one day. We were in Audubon Park. It happened well before I left. We had talked about, hey, we want to do something to give back to our student athletes above and beyond and supporting RevShare internally at Tulane. No, Tulane not at the full capacity of RevShare like a lot of the Power 4 schools. We were operating below the 20.5 number last year and just thought, how can we do our part to contribute? And so we had said, hey, let's land whatever the number is later, but let's give a substantial gift. And don't know what that number would have fully been had I stayed at Tulane. We just said, hey, let's at least give like a six-figure gift if we're still here. And then as things started to kind of unfold, job opportunities were presenting. Looked like we weren't going to be at Tulane past the 25 season and whatever that looked like. We both had just said, hey, look, let's commit to doing this even though we're leaving. Like, let's leave a six-figure gift as a sign of appreciation. You know, that place, it made me a coordinator at the FBS level at the age of 29. And so I'm very grateful for that, what it did for me as an assistant coach. Our two oldest kids were born in the city of New Orleans at a hospital a couple miles from campus. And then I had the opportunity to go back and be the head football coach there and spend 2 years there that were very special to us. And so I'm a firm believer that it's important to leave a place better than you found it, but also leave it on the right kind of terms. You know, if somebody had asked me to take a job and not allowed me to finish coaching the season at Tulane the way I wanted to, I would not have taken the job. Like, that was part of the deal coming here to Florida. But that also goes along with like that gift, hopefully allowing them to at least find another lane of resourcing to create opportunity for them to field competitive football teams.
Well, it's remarkably admirable. And how you got through that schedule with 2 hours of sleep and IV drips as you coached both, I don't even know. We'll do that on another show. I need just to walk me through your wellness regimen because clearly you got it going on. But you walk into Gainesville and you immediately kind of establish the tone. I mean, there was one moment where you're like, all right, there's some numbers in the weight room. They didn't sit right with you, bench numbers, what have you. And you're like, that shouldn't happen. And what I loved is that you were kind of willing to say, all right, the quiet part out loud a bit. So talk to me a little bit about the message you wanted to send, both to the players, to the Gator Nation throughout the course of your first spring.
Yeah, well, to me, I'm not going to shy away from the standards and expectations of what this place is. Like, we want to win championships here. That's what people expect. That's what we should expect internally. And so the only way I know to do that, though, is to hold the standards of what you do daily very, very high. And so for us, it's how we operate within our building, within our guys, the framework of what they're doing day in, day out. But I don't shy away from the expectations of this place. I don't want to, like, talk down to this team or this fan base of like, hey, it's okay to be average. It's not. Like, mediocrity is not acceptable. And so we have a lot of work to do to get to where I want us to go. But it takes all of us going the same direction too. Like, we need everybody's support. We need the fan base behind it. We need the players all doing their part with what it looks like day in, day out. And I do think we can achieve anything we want to here at the University of Florida, but we can only do it with everybody pulling the same direction.
Well, you've called Florida Sleeping Giant. I mean, no one's going to disagree with that that's covered the sport as long as I have, or has watched the sport as long as I have. But I do want to kind of dig into it a little bit. So when you look at the fan base, the brand, the resources, what did you kind of see when you first walked in there and say, all right, this thing's about ready to wake up?
Well, I saw the first thing I saw was a facility that I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we got an $85 million football building. And that's not including the indoor that was built years previously that's attached to our facility. So the building itself is unlike anywhere I've ever worked. All right. Like, it's different than any, especially as a head coach. Like, I just haven't had, I've loved the places I've been, but this place, like, it may be too nice at times. I'm like, all right, we got too many nice things. Like, it might create a little bit of complacency and casualness because it's such a nice facility, but you're blown away with maybe the facility itself and the resourcing that lies within that. And then the players, like, man, I walked in and I'm like, all right, how do I keep Jaden Ball and Miles Graham and VB3 and Dallas Wilson and Jaden Woods, and the list goes on and on. It's like, how do I keep these marquee guys that are here? We didn't keep all of them, but we kept our fair share. And so that was a huge part of it that gives me a lot of reason to believe. And then too, Greg, like, I think, sometimes the best indicator of what can happen in the future is what has it happened in the past.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't do something that's never been done. At Tulane, we went to the CFP. It had not been done. That was a goal of ours. It was like, let's do this. And when I took the job at Tulane, I spoke in my opening press conference and said, we're going to go to the college football playoff here. We did that. Well, here in front of our team, I've given them some lofty expectations and goals because I think we can do some great things here. But there's so many things in place here that I think give you a direct line of creating success. But it starts with people. It's humans over hardware. So even though when I got here, the facility is what jumped out because I haven't been in a place like this, man, it's about people. It's about buildings don't win you a game. People do. And so buildings don't win championships. People do. And so for me, it's about keeping the best people we can here, attracting more great people, and then getting everybody on the same page.
Well, you've talked a lot about culture and the type of team you want to build. And you've been really candid. I mean, all throughout the spring, like, this is good, this is bad, we got a lot of work to do, what have you. But I'd love to know, not the press conference version necessarily, the actual version. When the first time you walked in there and addressed the team and addressed the locker room and you kind of had them alone, what was it that you told them at that point?
The first time I addressed the team the day I took the job, probably too many expletives for air. All right. So, like, it probably can't fully be public, but I let them know, that I respected how they finished the season, winning the Florida State game. Like, I had a lot of respect for the guys finishing the year the right way. I also let them know that what we were about to embark upon was not going to be easy, that I was going to ask them to do some things that were going to make them ridiculously uncomfortable. I also told them that if you're tough and you love football, you're going to love being a Florida Gator. I've very clearly with the team when I came here also told them, if you're not tough and you don't love football, please leave right now. Like, get out. Like, don't stay because you're going to hate me and I'm going to hate you. And so I, as clearly as I could, also back that up with, like, if you stay, I'm going to give you everything I've got every day. I'm going to love you. I'm going to treat you like family. We're going to coach you ridiculously hard. We're going to give you everything we've got, though, for you to become the best you can be individually. And then we're going to try to do everything we can to create the best team we can here, short term and long term. I also told them, I don't care who recruited you. Like, I didn't recruit a lot of those guys, any of those guys, in that first team meeting when I took the job. I said, hey, you know whose guys you are? You're my guys, because I'm at the University of Florida now, and so are you. So you're my guys. Like, there is no previous staff guys I've recruited, like, they're all my guys. And so get them to understand that, like, I don't care how they got here, where they came from, who recruited them. I got their back. I believe in them. I'm going to challenge them and push them every day to grow. And so it was intense. I think it was probably more fiery than a lot of people would expect a first time, like a coach getting introduced to the team. But I don't know any other way to be.
Hey, that's you. You got to be you, right? Now, your portal class, I think some people were looking at it skeptically. And, you know how people get with the recruiting rankings and transfer, like all this other stuff. I have a hard time following it. A lot of people think, well, not enough 5 stars. It's like, okay, well, from where I sit, it looks like you were very intentional about the guys you brought in, prioritizing fit and scheme and culture and character and all this stuff, or maybe like the high-flying star ranking. So kind of walk me through that philosophy a bit.
Well, when you start with your portal class, I think you talk about addressing your needs. And so you first evaluate, okay, what were we able to retain? So, and then you supplement your roster through the portal. I don't think you can completely build your entire team through the portal, but you're looking for certain areas of maybe where are we deficient, whether it be depth, frontline talent, experience, veteran presence, and then you plug those guys in. So, like, we're not resourced where we could just go sign 22 brand new starters out of the portal.
Yeah.
Like, we got okay rev share and NIL money here, but we're not like number one in the country in that area. I'm pretty certain of that. And so for us, then you have to strategically go, okay, here's our resource pool that we have left after the retention component. How do we allocate those resources to try to put our roster together? You know, we could have gone out, maybe spent several $1 million to acquire one O-lineman. I didn't feel like getting one O-lineman was going to fix our O-line issues. I felt like, let's go sign 4 or 5. Let's pay them good money, but like, let's build competitive depth on the O-line. And so that way we can practice and be physical the way I want to be day in, day out when we go to work. And so, you know, you're looking for the fit. Then I did feel like we had a chance to like add a top of the market guy like Eric Singleton, who's a marquee known commodity. And so you go out and add him. He's got 1 year left. He was going to go to the draft, and you get a guy back like that to go, okay, how do we complement having Jaden Ball in the backfield? And then we have VB3 and Dallas Wilson at receiver. We added him. We added Bailey Stockton at receiver. We added Micah Mays at receiver. And then we got a young guy named TJ Abrams, who I think's got a chance to be a really good player here. So now our receiver, and we're like, okay, we got 6 guys we feel like we can play winning football with. And so you're just constantly trying to figure out how do you round out your roster. After going through the spring, I would love another little window here to maybe add a couple pieces that I think could complete us, but we don't have that luxury. But to me, so much of it's about fit. And then 2, when we bring guys in, whether it be in high school recruiting, transfer portal, I don't really kiss their butt in recruiting. Like if a guy wants to be coddled and, you know, like wined and dined, wrong place, like go somewhere else. I want these guys to love football, to know on the front end of coming here what this is going to look like. And so we tell them, like, look, man, we're gonna give you every resource to be successful. I'll give you the shirt off my back if it's going to help you. And but we're going to coach you really hard and be very demanding. And if you love what that looks like, you're gonna be a great fit here. If you don't love what that looks like, we paint the real picture, then it's okay for you to walk out this door and don't come here.
That's the new head coach at the University of Florida. You hear the passion. He says things like with a practicality. 2 things in there. He mentioned how when I knew that story already, when they left Tulane, he made like a 6-figure donation back to their NIL from his pocket, him and his wife, because of what Tulane meant to them, what they did. Most coaches leave and they burn the shirts, right? Not him. He left a donation behind. And number 2, he said that when he walked in and spoke to that Gator team, for like kind of in the first week, we'll say, first time, but if you don't love football, please get out of my football program because he won't have time for you. I thought it was pretty awesome. Part of why we shared it. And can he return the Gator name to the blue blood? They were a new blood. They were never a blue blood, but to the former glory. To be continued for sure. When we come back, bye-bye. We're done with the Louie Bellina Show on a Monday. The Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric.
Your home for Texas A&M football is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone. The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show. Sadly, we're basically kind of out of here, and I hope you had fun. You know, we talked about everything. Aggie Baseball. What a statement of the level they're at now. They're a great team. Aggie softball, heartbreaking to lose a series on a walk-off error. The officiating, atrocious. Just absolutely, I'm serious when I say that, atrocious. And the replay booth was the worst thing of them all. I mean, nightmare levels of bad. Holy snikes, that was nightmares bad. Aggie football added another 5-star offensive tackle, and now they have the 3 top offensive tackles in the state committed to. Bucky's effectively finished, and boy, finished with height, aggressiveness, defensive play, more shooters. Just need the big now. Just need the big. Logan Lee tomorrow, 11:20. He'll join me inside the Charles Schwab studio. I'll let him do the recap, and he's going to be doing cartwheels. I'm just telling you. He's going to be flying high. What has happened here is so unbelievable. It's not A&M normal for basketball whatsoever what has happened. We didn't get to talk Astros and Rangers, and with the Astros, they just avoided a sweep yesterday, and somehow that's a highlight. They beat the Yankees, avoided the sweep at home, and Spencer Arrighetti, so far, they sent him down to start the year, made no sense with the starters they had. He's been brilliant at 3-0 with an ERA that I think is sub-2. Last year before he got hurt, and he was supposed to be the next Hunter Brown, and no, I'm not calling that shot because that would be stupid, but he's been nothing short of fantastic, and there's so much good happening, but the bad is so bad. Oh, yeah, and Dana Brown gave Espada the vote of confidence, which means Jim Crane's going to be jealous and fire him without telling Dana Brown. I'm back tomorrow at 11. Have an amazing Monday, everybody. Peace.